Welcome to the audience. I went to the World Channel. I am MC Quang Thien. It's great to be with you in the video. Today, the story of Tesla and the pyramids. They are always mysteries that any scientist would want to decipher. I'm going to bring you the story today that perhaps the most brilliant scientists. It must also be surprising. Tesla always believed that his masterpiece of a lifetime, Wardenclyffe Tower, it's able to pick up the vibrations of the Earth and unleash a relentless source of electrical energy. The miracle here is that this energy doesn't need wires. It's transmitted through the Earth itself. It can go to any remote corner. Tesla's early experiments were successful. He lit an incandescent lamp near the tower. However, scientists say that this technology is Tesla's illusion, and it doesn't actually exist. But in hidden places, there's a mysterious voice. Maybe this technology has been around for thousands of years. So what really happened to the Kims? The Great Pyramid on the Highlands. The perfect scale of the Earth. Strange relationships between the rocks. Bizarre salt material. The mysterious tunnels. And the doors of these strange labyrinths. They all have something to do with ancient technology. Whether the pyramid was ever a kind of generator. It's like Tesla's design. Use oscillation and transmit energy around the globe. It's all going to be shown in today's video. A longtime researcher of the pyramids, mechanical engineer Christopher Dunn, made some interesting findings. From 1984 at the age of 28. Dunn noticed the Great Pyramid seems to have a perfect proportion to the Earth. For example, if you multiply the height of the Great Pyramid by 43,200, you'll get the radius of the Earth. If you multiply VI of the Great Pyramid by 43,200, you'll get the VI of the equator. So what's this magic number of 43,200? If you take 12 hours of a day, multiplied by 60 minutes per hour, and then multiply that by 60 seconds per minute, the result is still 43,200. In terms of astronomy, this number represents the length of day and night when the sun is at the equinox or equinox. It's not just a coincidence. Number 43,200, it's been around since humans began to understand music. And when people saw dream invention raw time measurement system according to the base 60 number. This is a mathematical code that the ancient Egyptians used to connect the pyramid to the Earth. It's no coincidence that the ancient Egyptians, again using this number in the structure of the pyramid, to study more closely the structure of the pyramid. The discovery of a trace of ancient technology. He discovered that the stones were carved in sharp angles, electromechanical trace strokes, and incredibly precise cuts. Inside the pyramid, there's perfect angles, high precision, and amazing alignment between the rocks. This can't simply be an accident. As I walked into the king's room in the pyramid, your intuition shows that this finesse and precision scale, they're not the elements that every ancient tomb needs. The scientists think that the Great Pyramid was built 4,500 years ago. It is the tomb of the pharaoh. The king's room in there. It is where the body of Pharaoh is buried. However, so far, no one found the body or any of the pharaohs in the pyramid tower, like the famous tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. Most of the Egyptian pharaohs and nobles, they are buried in the Valley of the Pharaohs, 500 kilometers from the pyramid. It doesn't look like a pyramid at all. Once inside the tomb, you'll see beautiful walls and the magnificent decorative motifs. This is completely different compared to the feeling of intimacy in the pyramid. So in the 1980s, the modular engineer conjectured that the pyramid is not a resting place. It could be a kind of precision device. But what is it? In the process of research, we looked at the structure of the pyramid again and noticed strange spots like the Queen's Room, underground corridors like loudspeakers, the cross tunnels, and a hallway to the end, with a more sophisticated King's Room. Especially the stone door in the King's Room, with incredibly sharp corners. However, the strange thing is that the ceiling at the top of the King's Room, it's so rough. And why is that stone door not broken? It's like melting or evaporating. Another surprising discovery. It was discovered in 1993. When a door in the secret hallway has been discovered, there's two structures on this door, like two metal poles. Why did the ancients design such a door? And what each structure is connected to, functionally or not? The engineer doesn't stop thinking. And in the process of finding out, you have discovered clues from archaeological reports. When the judges, the first Western scholar to enter the pyramid, they reported that there's a thin layer of salt on the wall of the Queen's Room. What is it? Don suddenly connected all the clues in his head. He remembered that in 1968, he had hoped to enter the Queen's Room to get salt samples for analysis. He speculated that it's the residue from a chemical reaction with limestone. But you can't get in, because a French research team is working there. Then Wright discovered that someone collected 10 samples and analyzed the composition of this salt. The researcher is Dr. Patrick, who did the study in 1978. After sample analysis from the Department of Geology and Minerals of Italy, they said that the main component of this salt is a mixture of carbonate calci, sodium chloride, and calcium sulfate. This is absolutely true. That's what's left behind. High-temperature reaction in the Queen's Room. And this reaction is an amazing pacemaker. All of the theories in my head. It's been connected. The operational structure of the Great Pyramid. That's what it turns out. Maybe you've used an electric lighter before. Inside the lighter is a battery. When pressed, will release high voltage current through the air and ignite the gas is escaping. This is how electric lighters work. But have you ever thought at how just a small battery, it can generate a high voltage, can pierce through the air to ignite or not? Actually, the tablet battery in this lighter, it's not the kind of battery that we understand. It's a completely different concept. Lithium batteries, alkaline batteries, or lead-acid batteries that we use every day. It's actually a chemical bomb. When substances at the anode and cathode react with each other, generating electric current. When the reaction is over, the battery runs out of energy. But pellets, the battery in the lighter, is not a chemical reaction. It's a physical reaction called the piezoelectric effect. It's actually a great phenomenon. Tissues in quantum mechanics. This battery has an important component. It's piezoelectric ceramic, a material that's capable of quantum effects. When you press on it, energy from your fingers will be converted into high voltage energy through the air and create electric sparks. Of course, this piezoelectric ceramic is very popular. Otherwise, there can be no electronic lighter. Cost only a few 10,000. So what's the pyramid? Biologists and doctors have discovered the particles nanosilicon dioxide, a new material. It appears in many of the ancient pyramids. The stones, granite, makes up the rooms of kings and queens. In the pyramid, there's a lot of silicon dioxide nanoparticles. It's like they're made or specially selected. So what do these silicon dioxide nanoparticles do? It was discovered that the Great Pyramid is made up of two materials and be a structural grade. The outermost layer is white paint. It's no longer visible, but its composition is lime. It's also called plaster, a natural insulator. Archaeologists say that paint layer, this white, is used to reflect sunlight. It makes the pyramid look bigger and bigger. however, in the analysis of the kettle in addition to beauty. More important, this insulating layer helps keep the energy it's made inside the pyramid. The second layer is the big rocks that come out, mainly limestone, from the Tura mine on the banks of the Nile. About 15 kilometers from the construction site, this is the main structure of the pyramid. The third layer is the granite inside the pyramid. It's the big corridors, the king and queen's room, to the underground tunnels, and the wells standing around. The special thing is, the granite here is of very high quality. Average amount of silica, or silicon dioxide in granite is about 70%. But in these rocks, silica content up to 78%. This is why cells contain so many nanoparticles, silicon dioxide, to have such quality granite stones. The ancient Egyptians had to exploit Aswan, 700 kilometers away, with these exquisite rooms made of granite. The structure layer, there's another important component. That's the device at the top of the pyramid. The stones are now in the museum we see, are the Sao copies. It's engraved with the power eye. The fact of division of the pyramid according to ancient records must be a stone made of dragon gold or copper. Emits a bright yellow light, while the pyramid's body is big white. This is the 3 layers of the pyramid. Outer insulation layer, body layer large pyramid, and the inner layer is piezoelectric crystal from quartz, and the top of the pyramid in gold. How the pyramid works can be described as follows. First, from underground cavities. Let's assume that this area was once filled with groundwater. When the groundwater flows through this recess, it creates an undercurrent. These sound waves are like shadows that amplifies the natural frequencies of the entire Earth. It's called an earthquake. These vibrations, it can create vibrations and resonances. Sound waves have been collected in the Queen's room, where it's actually a chemical reaction. 2 tunnels, one north and one south. There are traces of chemical materials. In particular, the north tunnel has traces of brick, while the south tunnel has traces of water and chlorine gas. These 2 substances combined will release large amounts of hydrogen and heat. It's like the picture in the experiment. These hot gases will fill the Queen's room and follow the pipeline to the big hallway. As more gas pressure in the large hallway increases, as Tesla said, just one pressure your pow is that you can do anything. The principle of the pyramid is the same. This pressure activates the quartz crystals in the rock. Granite causes the piezoelectric effect to appear. These powerful voltages will be like a battery in a lighter, splitting hydrogen into ions. Note that this process does not burn hydrogen. And when hydrogen comes out of the bottom and lands all over the space, will gradually remove oxygen. Chemically, when the hydrogen concentration exceeds 75%, even with oxygen, it can't explode. After being electrolyzed, hydrogen moves to a plasma state. Like a fire, plasma is the 4th state of matter, capable of generating high temperature and pressure. At this point, the whole pyramid starts working. Originally, the Great Corridor of the pyramid must be equipped with 27 sets peak fashion, with very high frequency oscillation. As the air blows into the resonators in the large hallway, they're going to magnify the sound energy and create strong vibrations. These resonators, it's been discovered by archaeologists, with related items, like old trumpets or speakers. These resonators plus plasma from hydrogen will amplify the vibrational energy a lot. The grand hallway is actually a set of resonant cavities, and its operating frequency, it's been deciphered by scientists as we know it. That frequency is 432 narrow, natural and very beautiful frequency of sound. Whether Steve Jobs knew anything about this sound when he created the logo and Apple Boots sound or not, is it? In meditation sessions with Indian masters, you've heard this magical sound from the ancient pyramids. When we enter the king's chamber, you'll see a smooth hallway with an entrance that's 8.4 inches by 4.8 inches. And this size, it's the size of the Viva wave, the easiest way through. Here all the oscillations have reached their strongest levels. The stone door in the king's room, it's not a normal door. It's actually an oscillating power amplifier. It's kind of like a giant speaker. So, how does it work? Do you remember the strange structure of the 5-story ceiling? The king's room. At Sao, everything is very sophisticated, but only this area has such a rudimentary structure. Many people think that, and that's because the Great Pyramid is essentially a musical instrument. Eyes who've tuned musical instruments know that. No matter how sophisticated the instrument, the audio tuning part is always pretty rudimentary. The regulator has to experiment little by little, until the correct resonant frequency is achieved. So, these 5 layers of structure, it could be a regulator and amplifier. Finally, that's responsible for bringing the frequencies of the entire pyramid to a narrow 430 to standard. You can imagine that. The sound of soaked water is like a wave being brought in. And when it's amplified in the Queen's room, sound waves will spread throughout space, then continue into the large hallway. Heat from sound waves will attract vibrations from the earth, continue to resonate with the piezoelectric effect of quartz, and the plural and joy peak fashion will magnify the energy oscillating from the earth. The pyramid begins to operate the main frequency 430 to narrow. The opening sound for the pyramid begins to ring. As a copy, the opening chord for the journey of energy. This energy builds up in the pyramid, retained by the white lime layer, external insulator, and it's locked. Finally, this energy is released through the top of the pyramid, gold shot to the sky and returned to the earth. It's then transmitted to every corner of the world. This is not exactly what Tesla imagined the tower, Wardenclyffe or Sao. This story is gradually becoming more plausible. 2 global live broadcasts from the pyramid probing robots. I found the bridge door in the Queen's room. What do the electrodes on the door mean? In the theory of noon, this has been explained perfectly. These electrodes are the indicator devices. It helps with the level of chemical reactions in the Queen's room. However, those who oppose the theory of Dunn just ask a question. Before you go to other things, you have to prove that piezoelectric energy can be charged together in the pyramid and launch out. This in the current theoretical framework. It's just science fiction. There is no base. However, is this really just science fiction? Or not? In 2019, after 25 theories of the universe, it's considered science fiction. He reappeared on the lecture force. This time he's brought 2 new scientific studies. One of them, it's the work of groups of scientists from the Optical University of Centerburg, Russia in 2018. They've used electronic waves of different wavelengths to test the Great Pyramid. They want to see the pyramid, can it resonate with electronic waves or not? The results show the pyramid, it's not just possible to resonate in electronic waves, it's also able to focus the resonant energy into its underground cavities. The black spots on the map are the location of the king's room. And the focus effect becomes clearer as the wavelength gets closer to 200 meters. The second study from 2019, conducted by Dr. Eric, with the support of the American Aerospace Association. It's called IA. Your paper has a clear title. Large audio receiver transmitter with the Granite Mountain is the main object of research. You have proven that energy generated from the piezoelectric effect in the credit blocks that can pierce through rocks and reach the Earth's surface through a variety of thermal processes, dynamics, and heat gain. The study also tracks the emission of photons after compressing the stone and explain in depth the piezoelectric broadcast effect. It's called earthquake light. The phenomenon we usually observed in the form of strange flashes of light before and after the earthquake. It's actually a natural phenomenon of releasing energy from the pyramids, formed by a body. Last his studies after 25. He answered the initial doubts from the protesters. The pyramid is actually capable of collecting 10 energy and emits energy. This is not science fiction. It's real science. Earth actually has an infinite amount of clean energy, and these energy sources can be used without any conductors needed, and it can be transmitted to every corner of the globe. This makes people think of it. Tesla's play. In the first half of his life, he did wonders. The second half sank in 7 defeats. He dreamed of brightening the world. But his destiny is like the Wardenclyffe Tower. People can only sigh with regret. On a day in 1897, at the age of 41, Tesla was at the height of his career. Just recently he and his partner Washington. Together they lit up the whole city. They built the first large hydroelectric plant on Niagara Falls, harnessing powerful energy from the earth. However, that day, Tesla told Westinghouse that he's leaving the AC industry for using water to light up a city. It's not a big deal. You have a bigger dream. It's using the tower to light up the world. After years of testing, Tesla has actually transmitted electricity wirelessly, and to do this, he invented a special series of light bulbs. It can be lit remotely. That's the Heinquan lamp that we use to this day. See the small experiments. They all live up to their expectations. In 1901, he started building this tower. Because it's located in New York in the Wardenclyffe area, it's called the Wardenclyffe Tower. In Tesla's imagination, this tower will transform into a giant generator. You also give the project a very modern name: radio broadcast without seconds. However, this is a completely different concept from today's radio. Today's radio is only used to transmit signals. But in fact, Marconi took Tesla's idea. There's no recognition. Tesla's radio plan has 16 applications. To summarize all the wireless applications, it's from Wardenclyffe Tower. Even though Tesla died, but all the important documents to this tower has been sealed. However, after surveying the scene, people still find out that this tower is like a pyramid. It's built on a layer of groundwater. Add to this visit, plugging a series of copper rods very deep into the ground. These copper bars are still left. And today, we can see the traces of them on the ground. So these copper walls draw energy from the earth. How is it? And how to convert it into electricity? To make sound, to transfer this energy to the atmosphere and provide infinite power to the entire planet. These are still unanswered questions. However, there's no denying that Tesla has been successful. Many people, including J.P. Morgan, I've seen your shows where Tesla transmits electricity wirelessly and light the bulb remotely. Even, there's also a record of an experiment on Long Island. The locals have seen many strange lights appeared in the air. The whole thing is like a pyramid. The Stella Tower is an infinite source of energy. It is clean and cannot be measured. It's almost completely free for everyone in the world. Once you understand the economics, maybe people will understand because J.P. Morgan, they quickly withdrew from Tesla. Morgan owns giant empires all over the world. Day and night non-stop copper wire production, and he also owns a lot of rubber factories, supply insulation material for copper wire, with steel companies, coal as well as railway and transportation companies. All of these industries, related to the production of generators, power pole thermal power plant, and coal transportation, oil and other energy sources. He invested in Tesla, not to help Tesla building a free power tower for the world, but to expand their business sectors. About Tesla, he had to write to Morgan every month. I urge you to continue your support. Tesla uses its own money to stay active for a while. But the huge debt from building the tower made you bankrupt. Tesla invented alternating current, and if you don't give up your patent rights, even at 0.01 cents per kilowatt hour, you can also be quick to become the richest man in the world within a year. He wanted to save West's life and make ideal use of AC power to light up the cities. He gave up his patent rights. And now it's about finances. Tesla must watch creditors dismantle Garden Tower clip, not completed, and sell scrap to pay off debts. Tesla's tower destroyed. And so does the pyramid, in fact. It was also a ruined wonder. In 1999, Dunn said that he discovered some traces of the explosion, strong in the pyramid. First of all, he found traces of fire on the hallway ceiling. This is the location of 27 peak resonators. Second, on the ceiling of the Queen's room, he found traces of the VA hits. Out. The ceiling of the King's room in the southeast corner has a clear crack. And these 10-ton granite rocks are broken. Shows strong pulsing VA force. Finally, the door was smashed and it was a strange brown color, not the usual pink color of a swung granite. It's like having a tremendous energy shock. Even one corner of the stone door has been melted by the action of an extremely powerful force. What could have caused such a powerful explosion? Some people suspect that it's an earthquake, while others think that it's a real stone and touch. However, these theories can't be explained. Traces left in the pyramid. The earthquake will cause the rocks to move, and the impact VA of the asteroid will leave the impact VA crater. But in reality, there's no such sign. Even in 2016, a research team re-investigated the north and south wells in the Queen's room and discovered that the southern well contains traces of sulfuric acid, while the north well, there's traces of ammonium chloride and zinc chloride. They even suspect that this is a deliberate act of sabotage, maybe through the addition of some explosive reactants to destroy the structure inside the pyramid. However, this theory still can't be explained at how explosive energy it was so strong that the ceiling of the King's room cracked and the stone door melts. It's a conventional chemical explosion will not be able to cause such damage. To 2018, Dr. Shop came up with a more reliable theory. He first looked at his research with traces on the stone of the Sphinx, and it turns out that both the statue and the pyramid, at least 9,000 years ago, when the highlands were still a rainforest. Dr. Shocker has identified an ancient event on Earth 9,000 years ago. Shocked to believe that at the time, there's been a release of energy extremely powerful on a global scale, enough to make many rocks glass. He said that this event is a powerful solar storm, in which the sun explodes and unleashed powerful shock waves. It's like a storm, disintegrate the Earth's protective magnetic field. Then, the Earth is immediately exposed to radiation, the power of the rays universe. And then there's the unprecedented thunder, the global attack. These lightning are so powerful, they can't imagine. Stronger than thousands, millions of times more than any storm. What lightning do we know? The shock that petrified rocks all over the world. It's the result of this event. Outside this solar storm, they cause irreversible damage for all equipment related to electricity and magnetic. You've probably heard of solar storms. can cause network outages and power outages. In fact, the last solar storm happened in February 2022. That caused 40 of SpaceX's satellites to crash. The most powerful storm in history occurred in August 1972, when the aurora is seen from both Bari and Cairo. Land thunder across the globe. They make power stations explode. The power towers burned, and the entire communications system interrupted for a few hours. Even more bridges and households. It burned because of the storm. However, this storm is only 1 million as strong as what Dr. Shocker imagined. In the catastrophic event that Dr. Shocker envisioned, the pyramid has undergone an explosion of destruction. At the same time this solar storm, it's caused a bigger global disaster. The sudden end of the Ice Age. Reality. Why did the Ice Age end so suddenly? It's still a scientific mystery. From Antarctica to the Arctic, the giant icebergs, it covers the whole of Turkey today. It all melts. That the Ice Age ended in a moment. What consequences did this have? Of course, the water from the melting ice caps will lead to catastrophic global floods. Maybe traces on the stone of the Sphinx. It's a trace of that disaster. Is this an explanation for the prehistoric truth? After thousands of years, when prehistoric civilizations disappeared, the ancient Egyptians rediscovered the Sphinx and the pyramid. They're based on ancient records to consider this a sacred place of worship. But the real technology behind them, it wasn't created by them. It's just that they found out. They're the finders, not the builders. Back to reality. Tesla and the pyramid. The Earth's energy and the vibration gate. Is this science fiction or is this real history? Tesla said that you can simulate experiments in the brain without studying the theory. You can see a lot of great inventions. It goes beyond current theories, as X-ray radio, alternating current, radio radar receivers, and more. According to statistics, it's 80% of modern scientific inventions related to Tesla. He's pulled all of humanity into the electronic age. In short, we miss Tesla. A friend once sent me a message. The world doesn't deserve Tesla. That's probably the best way to judge Tesla and who we are. Human ambition, it makes us unacceptable. A test is. Imagine if the energy was infinite and free. We can avoid a lot of conflict. War and oppression may stop. But energy from oil, greed and hatred, it's the foundation stones that make this world. Tesla was very passionate, dragging us into the electronic age. You're dreaming. We want to provide free and clean energy for remote and underdeveloped areas. However, all those dreams, he disappeared after Tesla died. In 1952, 9 years after Tesla died, the United States has claimed property. He will be succeeded by his nephew, Mark Kasanovic. He was the Yugoslav ambassador to the United States. However, Kasanovic discovered that there's 80 boxes in the FBI's portfolio of assets. But he only got 60. These boxes were originally prepared by Tesla. And Casanova thinks maybe the government moved things, apply from 80 PCS box to 60 PCS. But maybe the government, I've lost the rest of the boxes. And these missing boxes contains Tesla's great ideas and inventions, including all documents related to the tower, Wardenclyffe. Today, we can see the rest of the stuff in those 60 boxes at the Tesla Museum in the Serbian capital. Maybe what we're seeing today, it's what we've lost. But if that's what Shock and Dunn said, that over 10,000 years ago, there was a prehistoric civilization on Earth, and they used blocks of stone and quartz to implement Tesla's ideas, then surely one day, we'll get out of the current stagnation. and a new Tesla with love and technology will lead us back to space civilization. The first thing we missed. Thank you for following the story today. Please leave your comments below in the comments section.